All right, looks like we have our attendees ready to go. I want to welcome everybody to our virtual open house. My name is Bill Burke. I'm the Vice President of Student and Academic Affairs, and I'll be moderating today's session. We're very grateful that you're able to do this open house with us today, considering the situation we're in, but we are proud that we're able to provide you this service. Before we get started, I do want to go over a couple of housekeeping items regarding the Zoom platform. This webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be shared with the participants upon the completion of the webinar and available on our website and our YouTube channel. All attendees are in listen-only mode, but on the bottom of the screen, if you notice on the Zoom, whether you're on the mobile platform or desktop platform, there's a chat, a raise hand, and a Q&A button. Using the Q&A button, you'll be able to ask questions during the presentation. That'll be answered at the end of each session. So if you have a question that comes up, feel free to pop it in the question and answer. And at the end of each session, each program session and student support service session, we will follow up and answer your question. Okay, so real quick, I'm just gonna go over the agenda. Quick overview. First, you're gonna be hearing from our president and CEO, Dr. Katie Leonard. And then we're gonna have a brief overview of the college, hearing from each department's program directors of our health and animal science divisions, which include our radiologic technology, physical therapist assistant, and veterinary technology programs. Then we'll be hearing from the different student services, student resources departments on campus, which include financial aid, academic advising, and career services, just to name a few. And after each section, there will be that Q&A portion where you will be able to submit your questions via the Q&A feature. So now at this time, I'd like to turn it over to our president and CEO, Dr. Leonard.
All right, thanks so much, Bill. Hi, everyone, welcome. As Bill mentioned, I'm Dr. Katie Leonard, president and CEO of Johnson College. Thank you so much for joining us today as part of our first ever virtual open house series. And I mean, how cool is it that we're able to connect during a time like this? I think that this type of culture, one that troubleshoots and looks for creative solutions, is one that we've built at Johnson College. We do not see problems, we see opportunities. We work to be a leader in the essential industries that are critical to the lives of every American. Johnson College provides real-world hands-on learning in a caring environment and prepares graduates to enter into or advance in their careers. At Johnson College, you will not find a more caring group of people. It started with our founder, Orlando S. Johnson, and continues with us today. Our collective goal has always been to provide students with an education that leads to a family-sustaining wage and a career to be proud of. This is more important now than ever before because industry needs us more than ever before. I'm still getting calls and emails every day from employers looking for students with the types of skills that our graduates possess. The message is clear. As a Johnson College student, you are essential to the workforce. It's the reason our in-field job placement rate is so high year after year. Something that we like to say at Johnson College is that when industry calls, we answer. And we certainly deliver by providing you, the student, with live labs through the industry immersion program, a dynamic internship experience, and the exposure to industry from day one. We set you up for success in your chosen field, and we help strengthen the workforce in the communities around us. Johnson College is a ready-to-get-to-work college. Our greatest strengths continue to be our size, the speed at which we get students into the workplace, and our reputation for producing the best technicians and technologists around. We are the leaders in hands-on education, committed to fulfilling our mission to our students. Nothing deters us from this. And that is what makes Johnson College and our students the essential and powerful part of the workforce. Together, we will continue to demonstrate just how we work. I hope you'll join us for the journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Leonard. At this time, I'd like to introduce our Assistant Director of Enrollment, Alex Ellsworth, who's going to give a brief overview of Johnson College.
All right, thank you, Bill, and thank you, Dr. Katie. We appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for attending this virtual open house for our health and animal science programs. As Bill said, my name is Alex Ellsworth. I'm the Assistant Director of Enrollment here at Johnson College. I'm just going to give you guys kind of a brief overview on some background regarding Johnson College. So One of the things that we want to, kind of talk about firsthand is why students choose Johnson College. See that logo there that's kind of hitting you right in the face? We were actually ranked the number 10 trade school in the nation by Forbes magazine back in 2018. Something we're very proud of. Johnson College, we have about 450 students, small school in northeastern Pennsylvania, and we have that national distinction. So we always say that's, even though we're number 10 there, that's our top reason. So other than that, we do have 15 associate degree programs. As Bill said, we are going to focus on 3 of those today. We have 3 academic certificate programs. Again, at Johnson College, you'll see throughout this presentation, you'll see small class sizes and personalized attention. So our average class sizes are about 15 students. Your instructors will know you by names. So that includes, both the faculty and the staff. We really thrive on that personalized attention. We care for your well-being, and we want to make sure that you succeed. One of the other things too at Johnson College, we always start with the end in mind. Right now, especially with everything that's going on in the world, I keep hearing about these essential careers. And with that in mind, 86% of our students that have graduated last year are placed in field. So 86% in-field job placement rate at Johnson College. And just moving along too, the majority of our programs at Johnson College are what we call hands-on. So the majority of the work the students will be doing is in that nature. So for today's programs, just think about it, radiology, you're taking x-rays, physical therapist assistant, you're working with patients, working, in labs, and vet tech, it's the same idea. So this training is industry driven. So we always say our curriculum is created by industry for industry. So each semester, twice a year, we do this, where we actually have industry come from campus, peer advisory committees, and they take a look at our curriculum and make sure everything is up to date. But 84% of our instructors actually have over 10 years of experience in their related fields. So it's not like our instructors just graduate and immediately come back and teach. People have graduated, they've gone in the field for over 10 years and have come back, so they have this knowledge on both sides of it too. And in addition, we always talk about the hands-on education, but we do have an emphasis on improving the soft skills from students. We know they could go out and do the technical the technical requirements of the job. We want to make sure when they're going on interviews that they're able to speak, that they're able to articulate themselves clearly. And that's something that we strive to do at Johnson College and increase their marketability. Just a few more did you knows regarding Johnson College. We were founded in 1912 by Orlando S. Johnson, hence the name Johnson College. So we have been around for over 100 years. We're pretty unique in the area in that we are a 2-year private nonprofit school. So again, this allows us a little bit more flexibility, small class sizes as well. Our current accreditation is through ACCSC, which is the Accrediting Commission of Career Schools and Colleges. We are very proud of the fact though, we're actually going through accreditation status. So we're in the candidacy period now through Middle States Commission on Higher Education. So within the next few years, everything should be getting finalized in that regard. Some other numbers too are tuition for the year. Now, again, this is just for the year. It is broken up per semester, but for the whole year, it's just under $18,000. We do have student housing options, which we'll get to a little bit later on, but that is just over $7,000. Our average debt at Johnson College, again, we're talking about that 86% job placement rate. Our average debt of Johnson College graduates is anywhere from $5,500 to just over $13,000. You compare that with the line above, 4-year colleges, the average student debt is $37,000. So not only are we getting students into the workforce quicker, they're leaving with a lot less debt too, which is something we're very proud of and take pride in. And again, I mentioned it, but today's focus is going to be the physical therapist assistant program, or excuse me, the health and animal science programs at Johnson College. So physical therapist assistant, radiologic technology, as well as veterinary technology. So I'm going to turn it back over to Bill, and then we'll hear from our program directors.
Thank you, Alex, and great information on Johnson College. So now we're going to introduce our program directors to talk a little bit more about a little bit more in depth into the programs. And like I said, feel free to use that question and answer feature on the Zoom platform and ask questions. So at this time, I'd like to introduce program director for our physical therapist assistant program, Heather DeFazio. Heather.
Hi, thank you, Bill, so much. And everybody, thank you so much for being here with us. I know this is a little non-traditional, but at Johnson, that's exactly what we are. We're non-traditional and we like it that way. So just to quick introduce you to what a physical therapist assistant is. We work under the direction and supervision of a physical therapist, a licensed physical therapist. What our role is, we help patients recover from different illnesses, injuries. So things like sports-related injuries, pediatric patients with various disabilities, working with the elderly who have deconditioning issues, post-surgical, and of course, a variety of neurological diseases such as stroke, spinal cord injury, and of course, Parkinson's disease. What's nice about physical therapy, the whole field, is you can work in a real variety of settings. A lot of people kind of associate physical therapy with the outpatient setting, and that means you potentially have, like, say, a back injury and you go to a clinic and they help treat you and get you better. But it's so much more than that. There's different areas like working in skilled nursing facilities or school-based therapy, work with sports, inpatient rehab facilities. The list goes on. I actually, when I first wanted to get into physical therapy, I didn't know that it went really much beyond outpatient therapy, and I was so excited to learn about all the different career opportunities. So what we recommend for those who are potentially interested in physical therapy is someone who really likes to work with people. We're very close working with people. You have to be really comfortable with being in each other's spaces, for sure. We work a lot with interdisciplinary teams, so being a really good communicator is something that we highly recommend as well. You gotta be comfortable being able to communicate not only with other team members like occupational therapists, radiologists, and so on, but you also have to be comfortable communicating with your patient, because a lot of what goes into the job is communication and education. So we do a lot of educating our patients on how to have better posture, how that they can stabilize their joints to prevent further injury, and how to just fully rehabilitate their bodies to get back to as normal functioning as possible. And of course, dealing with not only the patient, but their families as well. Just to give you a head, and one thing we also recommend is for people who have a really good love of science classes, this is definitely for you because it's a lot of science-based courses in our program. Average median pay is roughly about $50,000, with starting rates usually between $20 and $25,000, $20 to $25 per hour, depending on the area that you move to. Obviously, the closer you get to more of an urban area, the higher the pay rate and so on. Just talking about our program specifically, what Bill has on the screen here for you is our program currently is sitting at 69 credits, but that includes also the general education courses. We operate on what's called a 1+1 model. And what that means is our entire first year, so your freshman year, is dedicated to general education courses. So your fall, your spring semester, your first year is general education. The second year of the program is dedicated to the physical therapist assistant specific courses. And so again, fall and spring would be all PTA courses. And then we have a fifth and final semester, which is all clinical experiences. The beauty of us being a 1+1 model is it provides the opportunity to finish faster. So what I mean by that is if you have some background in college and you took some, say, general education courses, or you have a degree already in like a science-related field, a lot of your stuff could potentially transfer in, and you could easily finish our program in 3 semesters, because then you might just need to do the technical portion of our program, which would be the physical therapist assistant program, specific classes, and then of course your clinical experiences. Or you can even go with a 4 semester if you just needed to take a few general education courses before coming into the technical coursework. So that really is what sets us apart from other physical therapist assistant programs, because we do offer that variety of tracks, which is really awesome. And we have a lot of students who've taken an opportunity to do that, and it's amazing that we can offer that to you. We also offer small class sizes. We have a cohort size, meaning a class together would be a class of 12. So we are really able to get one-on-one with you, really make sure you're getting those hands-on skills that you need, really working with you to get through those critical skills to make sure that you are comfortable with doing the variety of treatments that you're going to be doing, and also making sure that you are safe and going to be having a really good experience. As far as enrollment for us, we due to the current situation, normally what we require is 16 observation hours. So half would be in an inpatient setting, half would be in an outpatient setting, just to show you a variety of different settings. And then, but for now, due to the pandemic that's going, we are currently waiving that. But in place, we actually have a video that we have you watch and that you can reflect upon, which is not exactly the same thing, but at least you're getting a little bit of a taste of what a physical therapist assistant is. Of course, you have essays to complete, letters of recommendations, and of course, we're going to be looking at your SAT scores and then your grades from either high school or college. And all of that would be reflective of being able to be admitted into the program. So that's kind of my spiel. I don't want to take too much time because there's other amazing people here to speak to you. So is there any questions from anybody?
Thank you, Heather. We'll take a look to see if any questions come in. And also thank you, because I sat up straighter in my chair when you said you teach about posture. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Let me check. Do we have any questions? I know Alex has taken a look at those as well.
Sure, Bill. So we do have a question.
Okay.
We actually did have a prospective student ask, Heather, as far as job placement, you know, there's a lot of local clinics around the area. They just want to know what type of work would be available for students, like if it would be in hospitals or more so just these smaller clinics.
It really depends on the area that you plan to work. There, of course, is going to be probably more opportunities in an outpatient setting, but there's still lots of opportunities in skilled nursing, acute care, home health, even school-based. Acute care, because it's so hustle and bustle, and they have a lot more turnover, they tend to be a little bit higher for physical therapists over physical therapist assistants. But places like I said, outpatients, home health, where the physical therapist doesn't need to see the patient as much, they have more of a reliance on physical therapist assistants. So those jobs tend to open up and be more available.
All right, thank you, Heather.
There is another question in here, Heather, which I think it's a great question. Do you guys perform any off-campus work?
Do we perform any off-campus work? So as far as for our clinicals, yes. So what that means is we have 3 clinical experiences. The first one is integrated into the 4th semester. So it would be the spring semester of the year that you are taking your physical therapist assistant courses. And you go 1 day a week for 15 weeks into clinics. So you will be hands-on with real patients, with other real therapists. You are the one performing the treatment, of course, under the supervision of your clinical instructor. And then in that 5th semester, you will be out on clinics as well. And those are full-time clinics. They're both 6 weeks full-time. So you're there Monday through Friday, 40 hours a week, as if you were a full-time working therapist assistant. So those are our opportunities for that. We're hoping to also, once this is, of course, all passed, to do, we're working on increasing observations throughout your coursework as well. So not necessarily to be the one hands-on, but to be able to observe in different settings so you can get a feel out there for the setting you might potentially like and want to work in.
Great. Thank you so much. I don't see any other questions in here, but of course, if any participant or attendees have any questions at the end of the program overviews, we will have the information for our program directors on there, so feel free to reach out. And Heather will be hanging out for a little bit, so if a question does come up, feel free to put it in there as well.
Definitely.
Thank you, Heather.
Here, so ask any questions. Thank you so much, Bill.
All right, you got it. All right, at this time, I'd like to introduce our, and you know what, actually I should have mentioned this before, all 3 of our health science programs and our animal science programs, they're competitive programs, and for the most part, you know, we have a cap on how many students we could have in there. So it is encouraged to get applications in earlier, and radiology is one that we're actually started a wait list for the fall 20 class, and if your application is in, we are looking at it. It's just a bit delayed with getting to those with the situation. So at this time, I'm going to welcome Roxanne Caswell, our program director for our Radiologic Technology program. Roxanne.
Hi, everybody. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Mrs. Caswell. I have been working at Johnson College for, I'll be going on my 15th year, actually, and I've just been the program director for the last year. I'm getting tongue-tied already. Our program is a 2-year program. It is accredited by JCERT, which is the highest accreditation you can have for a radiology department. We have several facilities in the area that we send our students to for clinicals, and we choose those for our students. After you graduate from our program, you'll be able to sit for your national boards. A lot of people get a little concerned with that. It means that you can work in any state in the United States. So you can travel from New York to Pennsylvania to California without having to worry about taking your boards again. Some states may require some licensures, but that is per state, and that's usually just a fee that you have to do. So our first semester, we usually start off with just didactic work. You will learn positioning, anatomy, exposures, how the equipment works, why the equipment works. You'll learn about the physiology of the human body and how photons go through the body and how it affects the body, those type of things, radiation protection, before we even send you out to clinic, because we want to make sure you know what you're doing before you go out there, understand the principles behind radiology. And you can see our 2 rooms there. We have 2 diagnostic rooms, labs, which we're very fortunate to have them as digital now. We've gone from film to CR to DR now. So we're up to date with that. And I have lovely Mrs. Douglas, who helps me with the clinic, and she'll get you on board with clinic and exposures. The second semester is when you'll start to go to clinic. You'll do some work on campus and then go on a Tuesday and Thursday and do your clinical rotations. And then during the summer is when you really get a lot of your practice in. It will be the full summer, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, working in a hospital setting. You have certain amount of competencies that are required for you to be able to sit for your national boards. And so that's when most of the students get most of that kind of work done. And then in your fall semester of your second year, we like to change out your hospital setting, let you go see another hospital. You'll learn all new equipment at each place that you go, and you'll continue with your competencies on Tuesdays and Thursdays in class Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then in the last semester, you will have 3 days of clinic and 2 days on campus. So you get a pretty well-rounded availability to see everything. Some of you been asking about going on to CT, MRI. Those you can do as extra modalities. They are an extra board certification, but there also are very many other things to do besides CT and MRI. First of all, there's nothing wrong being a diagnostic radiographer. I've been doing it for over 40 something years now, and I still love doing it. You can, we'll let you go through observations at your site, so you get a chance to sit into CT, get a chance to sit in MRI, but you could also maybe sit into mammography, nuclear med, cardiac cath, intervention. There's a whole other variety of other types of things to do in radiology. It's really expanded over the time. I can say that I've worked in the ER in the hospital. I've worked outpatient. I've worked in a rather large medical facility down in Florida, and I've worked in North Carolina, and I've worked in Pennsylvania and New York, and every setting was a little bit different, so you can kind of pick what you feel more comfortable in. Some people don't like working in the hospital, and that's perfectly fine. As our students have graduated, most of them get a job right out. That's usually get a job at where they've done their clinical settings. Have students have gone to several different states and worked, as far as California, North Dakota, Florida. Some of the things that they've done is some have become CT techs, MRI techs, nuclear med techs, dosimetry, radiation therapy, and those all would require extra education, and you would have to take extra boards for those also. Any questions?
Roxanne, the boards that you take, are they, do other states accept those, or are they state specific, or is it a national kind of licensure exam?
The one that you would be taking would be a national licensure exam. When you graduate, you're considered board eligible and you can start working. Some states will require you to be a registered technologist before you actually start working. So you do want to take your boards. It's very important to take your boards. And like I said, they're good for across the whole United States. And you would be taking the same exact boards, whether you were getting an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree. Some programs are a bachelor's degree. They sit and take the same exact boards that you would take as an associate degree, and you would start off the same pay, whether you have an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree.
Great, great. There's another question in here. David, it's regarding community college completing gen ed courses. Yep, you could definitely just speak to your recruitment advisor and they could get you in touch with our academics department. We are going to hear from our associate director of academics later on, talk about transfer credits. But yeah, Angela, Alex, whoever you're dealing with, they can certainly help as well. Also, another question in here from Ashley. If I'm a junior in high school now, when is the earliest I should apply to get in?
In July, this July coming up, you probably will be best because we fill up quite quickly. And if you're a junior now and you'll be a senior the following year, I would apply a whole year ahead of time almost just to see if you get accepted the following year, because we are already full for this semester and I have a feeling we're going to fill right up as soon as we start opening up for this July.
Yep.
Great. Fortunately, we fill up very quickly. So, I mean, it's good for us, but you need to get in there.
Yep. And then how far would someone have to travel for their clinical rotations, their clinical sites?
Well, from our site at Johnson College, we have hospitals up to 90 miles away. So the way that we do this is that we choose the hospital for our students depending on them. We kind of look at the student and feel what is best for them. Every hospital is a little bit different. We have some hospitals that are obviously slower paced and some that are major medical centers that may not be the best setting for some students with it to start off, but eventually they'll work their way up there. You have to realize that when you're in this field, you are going to be working all the way down into the morgue with dead bodies, unfortunately, and you're going to be working with older people, babies. You're going to be working on the floor. You're going to be working in the OR. You're going to be working in the emergency room with trauma. So you have to be aware that you really have to be able to work fast, think fast, and know what you're doing, and be able to communicate well. Communication with your patient and your other medical staff is very important.
Great. Thank you. And then there's two questions here, which I think they somewhat tie together. So Tamar asks, do I need any prep courses? And then, but I want to double down on the second question here. So Ben asks, what qualifications would increase the likelihood of being accepted into the program? So I think if you want to kind of tackle those.
Well, all I'd like to say is that if you took physics in high school will help you. Any anatomy classes will definitely help you. Sometimes I pick students on their interviews. I may have a lot of qualified students, but depending on how they present themselves, we usually do some interviews when we do our applications, and the way that you come and talk with us, express with us, how you feel, how you interact, makes a difference sometimes over another person. So the interview is very important also. We feel that when you go into clinic, it's like a job interview. These people are going to pick who they want to work with next. And so how you act and interact is very important in who we pick also.
Thank you. Yep, I think that's a great point. I think that kind of goes back to what Alex talks about earlier regarding the soft skills, right? So on top of having, if you have a strong science background, sure, that's great. But, I think Roxanne definitely takes into consideration that personal interview. So thank you very much.
Yes.
Any other questions out there? Okay, so there's one question on here, and it says, just according to your website, it states due to COVID-19, you're not accepting applications for the radiology program. Is this true?
Well, we're not taking them right now because we're full for the fall semester. And I do have a number of students on a wait list. So the wait list would come first. I believe they're going to be opening it up again in July to take for the following fall.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Bill, if I could jump in there quickly.
Yeah.
We are, so just to clarify for that question, so on our website, we usually do have a $25 application fee. That is being waived due to the COVID-19 right now. But like Mrs. Caswell said, in general, we're not taking applications for Radiologic Technology at this point. So I think you might have blended those two messages together.
Okay. Good point. Thank you.
We also do have shadow student days too, that we allow the students to come in during our lab times. If we're back on campus and when everything's going great, we would love to have some students come in just to see what we do in the classroom and in the labs too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And definitely for that student who was saying they're a junior in high school, apply as soon as the application opens up. And then of course, yeah, come in the fall, pending the situation and shadow. Great point.
Yeah.
All right. Looks
Okay.
like that's it for the questions. So
Great.
thank you, Roxanne.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Now I want to move on to introduce our program director for our Veterinary Technology program, Kim Konopka. Kim, the floor is yours.
Hi, thank you for joining me. I have my video on. I'm not sure why it's not popping up there.
We see you.
You do? Okay.
Yep.
Great. All right. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining. My name is Mrs. Konopka. I'm the program director for the past 4+ years for Veterinary Technology. I'm also a graduate from the program, as is every technician, faculty, instructor within our program. They are also all graduates from the Johnson College Vet Tech program. So some of you might wonder what it is exactly that a veterinary technician does on a day-to-day basis. Really what we work on every day is assisting the veterinarian in the care of the animals. We will prepare animals for surgery, so we'll also be scrubbing in for surgery. Sometimes we're gowned and gloved up and assisting directly with the surgery itself. We will monitor anesthesia, and then we also take care of the patients as far as their wellness exams go. So every time that an owner brings a pet in for an annual visit or wellness exam, the veterinary technician plays a very important role in that aspect as well. Where exactly do you work if you become a licensed vet tech? There's lots of different places that you can get employment. The first and the one that most people think of is small animal practice. We refer to that as day practice. But that is most definitely not the only place where you can utilize your degree. There's also ER and referral medicine, which is very fast paced. And a lot of times what you're seeing in those facilities are going to be your more emergent cases and more severe cases. So some people really thrive off the adrenaline of an ER referral type situation, and some people are actually more suited for a small animal day practice. You can go into large animal medicine if you're interested in working with horses or cows or other large animals. You can go into pharmaceutical sales. Veterinary medicine has their own version of pharmaceutical sales. We have reps that come to our door every couple of weeks pushing their products. So if you're interested in something along those lines, that's most definitely another area you can go into, as well as the USDA. So some different areas within veterinary technology program and the degree. There are 16 different what we call specialties within our field of medicine. And what these specialties are is basically once you have received your degree and have passed your state boards, you can then pursue a specialty. There's currently 16 specialties out there right now, just to give you an idea of what they are. There's anesthesia and analgesia, there's behavior, there's internal medicine, dentistry, emergency critical care. So there's 16 different specialties that are available out there. Once you receive or earn, I should say, your VTS or your veterinary technology specialty, your pay generally increases and the demand for you in a position definitely increases. So that's just an opportunity that's out there for students if they're interested. Regarding our program, it is a 2-year program with an additional 5 weeks for your internship, which occurs directly after graduation. Your internships, you are able to select your own internship facility. We just have a few requirements that have to be met first, and so therefore the facility needs to be approved by myself or the internship coordinator. So this gives you an opportunity to think outside the box and maybe pursue, or at least for 5 weeks, sample some different areas of medicine that maybe you didn't think that you were interested in. We've had students go all across the United States. We've had students do their internships in Hawaii. We've had students do their internships at Washington State University. We've had interns go to zoos. So there's lots of different areas where you can sort of sample not only geographic location, but possible interest. And I think this is a great opportunity for you to try a different avenue, maybe one that you didn't think of before. Some of our students actually go on to lab animal medicine, and they never thought that they would be interested in that. And they did it on their internship, fell in love with it. Regarding the program also, you start hands-on with animals day 1 in our program, and the Center for Disease Control has deemed us a high-risk profession as far as contracting the rabies virus. Unfortunately, rabies is fatal, and so therefore, in order to basically start into the program, you have to have your rabies vaccines completed. There's more information on that I go over on your interview, as well as the packets that you received from the enrollment office. Regarding how you get board certified, so after completion of your 2 years at Johnson College and then completing your 5-week internship, you will then register to sit for your VTNE, which is your Veterinary Technology national exam. So it is a national exam that you're board certified. So in an essence, you do have reciprocity state by state, but there are some states that require their own licensure. So that's a state level licensure. You usually have to pay a small fee. And a lot of times what those tests are, a lot of times they're standards, rules and regulations and governmental regulations. But in essence, everyone takes the same exam at the end of their completion of their academics. And as Ms. Rodswell said, it's the same thing for us, whether you're getting your bachelor's in veterinary technology or your associates, you're going to sit for the same exam. Our program is accredited by the AVMA, which is the American Veterinary Medical Association. So there's 240 programs across the United States, so there's not a whole lot of schools out there. So we do have a highly competitive enrollment within our program. We take 32 sits for the fall semester. So that's a little bit about our program. Oh, one major thing, we do have the Animal Care Center in-house. So basically what this is during your senior year, we function as a wellness center for the general public. What this does is gives the students an opportunity during their senior year to engage in a clinic setting, but at a much slower pace. So we are only performing 3 surgeries or 3 surgical procedures a day, and we're only seeing a handful of office calls. The office calls average 40 minutes versus in an actual day practice, your office calls are usually scheduled at 20-minute intervals. What this does is allows our senior students to, like I said, immerse themselves into a veterinary clinic situation at a much slower pace and supervised by the veterinary technicians on staff. Any questions?
Thank you, Kim. Yeah, so we have a question from Jocelyn. She's in the vet tech program at BOCES, and she's a junior. Because of this, she had no room in her schedule for chemistry or algebra 2. She was able to fit chemistry for her senior year, but not algebra 2. Will that stop me from getting accepted?
Actually, it won't, not any longer anyways. Chemistry over the years, we found out is not required anymore as far as their high school education goes. So we've had to sort of waive the chemistry. If a student has taken chemistry, I do score it on the rubric. So if they've taken chemistry and gotten a good grade in it, it can improve their score on the rubric, but it doesn't actually determine whether or not they're accepted over another student. It does give them a leg up because they are going to take chemistry again. It's required in our program. And the same thing with algebra. I'm looking for at least 1 year of algebra. You're going to take an algebra math 101 at school, at Johnson anyway, because it's part of the program.
Okay, great. That was her. So it sounds like she's going to have chemistry her senior year, but not algebra 2. So she would have had algebra 1. So great.
Okay.
Thank you. And then what's the pass rate for the VTNE? What's the pass rate?
Okay, if you can see me, I'm grinning from ear to ear.
Well, right. I just pulled it up down here.
We've had some awesome pass rates the past couple of years. Last year was an 88% pass rate, and the year prior was a 94% pass rate. I hate using percentages because the year that we had a 94% pass rate was actually 17 out of 18 students passed the exam. So we have, over the last 2 years, we've had very, very strong pass rates with our graduates.
Great. And then Cassidy has a question, and this is, I could probably handle this question. What does the senior year mean in a 2-year program? Well, essentially your first year is a freshman, your second year is a senior. So you wish you could have done that in high school, right? That was the last question so far for the vet tech program. I don't see any more in there. If anybody does have any questions, of course, feel free to reach out to our program directors through email or phone, where we are still available. We're all working remotely, but we're here to answer any questions. So if anybody does have any other questions for Kim, I want to thank Kim and all of our program directors for sharing information on their program. And any attendee, please feel free to look at our website. I just tried to give you a little virtual tour on there to see what is on there. We do have a question, Kim. This is from Luna. How early should I apply for this degree?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, just want to make sure. How early? The sooner the better. I know for a lot of students in their junior year of high school, that's pretty difficult because they're not meeting sort of the criteria that are needed for acceptance in the program, because some of the courses are definitely senior year courses for your high school career. I recommend definitely coming in. Obviously, we can't do the open house, but once campus is open back up, we also do shadow experiences where you can come in and actually shadow the surgical procedures for that day and see if it's something that you can stomach. But I would say the earlier the application, the better, because we only accept 32. And as of, we're looking, it's April 29th, and I only have 1 seat left for the fall start.
Great. But you will have a wait list, right? So,
yeah, absolutely.
They can apply. Okay.
Don't let the fact that there's only 1 seat left deter them, because we can work with, allowing, if they're accepted into the program, they can actually start in the springtime and start in January and get some gen eds out of the way.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Kim. Looks like that's all the questions for our program directors and program area. So thank you guys again. Appreciate it. All right. Now I'd like to introduce our senior recruitment advisor, who actually oversees and handles all the enrollment processing for our animal and health science programs, Angela Semke. Angela.
Hi, thanks, Bill. As Bill said, I am Angela Semke. I am the Senior Recruitment Advisor at Johnson College. A lot of you may have already had some conversations with me or received some emails, text messages, phone calls, whatnot. For those of you who haven't, I am sure that you will in the very near future. What I would like to do today is just to go over all of our academic programs. I know this virtual open house is focused on the animal and health sciences, but we do have a wide variety of different programs. So maybe somebody is interested in coming to Johnson College with you, or maybe you're kind of between health and animal sciences, but you also really like electronics or something like that. So on the slideshow right now, we do have it broken down by different divisions. We have a building and trades technology division. We have electronic and industrial. We have the transportation and logistics. And again, like I said, the health and animal sciences. All the programs on here fall into one of two categories. They're either 2-year associate degrees. You can earn your associate in applied science or science. And we also have 1-year academic certificates. Regardless of the program that you enroll in, you will have to take general education classes on top of your program specific. So with that, you will have to take maths, you'll have to take Englishes, computer classes, stuff like that. The cool thing is, besides the PTA program, all the other programs, you're going to be taking those gen ed classes mixed in with your program specific. With that, we allow our students, if they have transfer credits from another school, to transfer them in. So possibly you might not have to take them, but just realize to become that well-rounded student, we do require both the gen ed and the program specific. So if you like what you are hearing today, once we complete the presentation, you can either reach out to me for more information, or if you want to know more about the next steps, the first thing that we always recommend is for students to apply. So the application right now online is free of charge due to the pandemic. We've waived the application fee. There is no fee waiver code, nothing like that. You just have to go to johnson.edu, upper right-hand corner, click on the Apply Now button. Once you complete the application, we highly recommend that you send in your high school transcripts as the next step. For the RAD, Vet Tech, and PTA programs, we do look at SAT or ACT scores. If you have not taken either of those tests and are unable to take them, that's okay. I'll work with you. We'll figure out another test to take, or potentially if you're applying for this academic year, we may just waive it due to the pandemic going on. As some of the program directors stated, additional steps are required for students who are interested in these 3 majors. Again, I'll reach out to you. It involves letters of recommendation. It might have some essay questions. We have waived the observation hours due to the fact that nobody's able to go out and observe at this moment in time. If you are a junior, these most likely will be reinstated. So you will have to do observation hours if you're applying for the 2021 academic year. We always encourage students to schedule a visit to come to campus to see how we work. Hopefully in the fall, we'll be able to have shadows back on campus. We'll be able to have you come in for tours, meet one-on-one with myself or another member of the enrollment department. We really enjoy when students come to campus so that they can meet one-on-one with the program directors, so that they could talk to current students, so they could get a feel for how campus is. Our campus is small, a little deceiving from Main Ave. That is actually bigger than what it looks like. But, in order for a student to get that feel, we highly recommend that they come to campus. And lastly, we always encourage all students to fill out the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. Jessica Farrell will be talking about this a little bit more in the next presentation. But for right now, do we have any questions about the enrollment process or anything that I just spoke about?
I don't see any come through, Ange,
Okay.
but thank you. And of course, at the end of the presentation, all of our staff members, as well as our program directors, information will be on there. So if you have any questions, feel free, like I said, to reach out to those folks as well. All right, Ange, thank you so much. All right, at this time, I'd like to welcome our financial aid director, Jessica Farrell, who's going to give a brief overview on our financial aid department. Jess.
Great, thanks, Bill. Hi, everyone. Like Bill said, I'm the Director of Financial Aid here at Johnson College. I'm also the Veteran Certifying Official, so if anybody has any questions regarding GI eligibility, please feel free to ask me. I'm going to talk to you this evening just very briefly about financial aid. Like Angela had said, it starts with the FAFSA. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid, and if you want to be eligible for federal and state student loans and grants, you need to complete this application by May 15th. That deadline is quickly approaching, so if you have plans to start in the fall, I recommend that you get the application done as soon as possible. You can do it via the web, or you can download the My Student Aid mobile app on your cell phone. Once you've been accepted to the college and we have your FAFSA on file, you're going to get a financial aid packet from the financial aid office. This packet will have a detailed breakdown of costs and all of your grants, loans, and scholarships. Grants and scholarships are your free money, so you want to make sure you get as much of that as possible. If you're interested in applying for additional scholarships, you can do outside scholarship searches. You can check with your employer, or you can have your parents check with their employers. Organizations such as McDonald's, Starbucks, Amazon, and Burger King, just to name a few, all offer scholarships. Johnson College has scholarships available as well. You will need to complete our application, which can be found on our website. The application is then sent to the Johnson College Scholarship Committee. The committee will review every application throughout the summer and will continue until all scholarships have been awarded. Every student will be notified whether they have been selected or not. And that pretty much wraps up my presentation this evening. Like I said, I was going to just be very brief, and you will get more specific, detailed information from our office once you have been accepted and have completed your FAFSA. Thank you and have a good night.
Thanks, Jess. I don't see any questions coming in, but of course, we know financial aid can sometimes be, a cumbersome process and confusing at times. Our entire financial aid department is here to help. We have information sessions we can provide. We have
Oh,
tutorial
Bill,
videos.
real quick, I want to interrupt. We did start doing FAFSA Fridays. So if there's anybody that needs help with their FAFSAs, we're actually doing Zoom meetings. So you can
Great.
contact us and set up an appointment.
Absolutely. Yep. Thank you for that, of course. So feel free to reach out with any questions. All right, Jess, thank you so much.
Yep, you're welcome.
This time, I'd like to introduce Jeff Bauman, academic advisor, who's going to talk about our academic advising process. Jeff.
Hi, Bill and everyone here. It's great to see a full open house. It's really exciting. My name is Jeff Bauman, and as the slide says, I am an academic advisor here at Johnson College. I share this role with a fellow colleague. His name is Andy Zwanch, and we perform the role of academic advising at Johnson. Kind of like Angela as the recruitment advisor for the health sciences, I serve as the academic advisor specifically for the health sciences division to kind of keep consistent communication and be that point person, especially when you're taking a lot of the similar classes. So what is academic advising, you might ask yourself? It sounds fancy. It really isn't. If you're in high school, you're familiar with the idea of a guidance counselor. We work in that level. We want to work closely with you throughout your time here at Johnson, as that says. But we want to talk about where you're going, what got you to Johnson, and what motivates you to be there. By knowing that, we can form a relationship, and through that relationship, we can help you stay on track when things get a little bit wary. The health science department's courses are difficult, and they do challenge you, but I know if students are applying for those type of programs, they understand the challenge that's coming. But we take time to keep you on track and keep you focused on your why, Johnson College, and why the career and college path you've chosen. We also help you plan for future semesters. A lot of our students in the health sciences division understand that their workload may be heavy in some of the science classes. So they're looking for ways to manage their schedules and manage clinicals and time studying for anatomy or time studying for their important classes. So we make those plans with you, and we sit down and have that conversation. And then I act as a conduit to get you to resources here at Johnson College. Tonight, you're going to hear from all of those resources: career services, tutoring, the resource center, disability services, career services. And when you come to me with the problem in something, I help you try to find the solution and select the path that's right for you. So you'll be able to hear about what we offer here at Johnson as far as support services a little later. So some of you have already asked about transfer credits. Some of you have asked about how's it going to work if I've taken this class or this that other class. That's where flexibility comes in. And that's something that Johnson College does a great job with in regards to sorry, I lost the screen there. We offer flexibility that allows you to work while attending colleges. Something that we've learned from our students is that most of you will be working, whether it's part-time or full-time, helping pay for your college experience. Some of you may be non-traditional. Some of you may have already had a degree and you're coming back to finish and change career paths, and you have family that you need to care for. We want to take that into consideration, and we have that conversation from the moment you start enrolling. Angela and I are very close. When we're on campus, you can see each other from our desks, and we work together to kind of find the way to help you be successful in your time here at Johnson. While enrolled, we'll talk about full and part-time options depending on when you take credits and depending on how your course load falls. Sometimes there's some flexibility with that. And then we also look at scheduling your classes between day and evening. Some of our programs do have some evening type classes, and we can choose what day it works on. But most of our health science programs do operate during the day because it's mimicking the workday, whether it's in the radiologic technology field where you're working in the hospital during the day, or a vet clinic, not necessarily an emergency clinic, but a vet clinic that's open during the day, and same thing with the physical therapy practice. And then online options. A lot of our students in our health science programs choose online because it opens up their week. So they have time for clinical, They have time to study for classes, and they don't necessarily have to be on campus as much. And it allows to free up some time for themselves. That's very important. And then, as I talked about prior, the flexibility comes in with summer and intersession courses. We offer those at a reduced cost. Typically, these are general education courses like your Math 101, your microcomputers, or something like your art elective or your English, to kind of take the busyness out of your schedule. We can start talking about that as soon as you'd like. My emails will be at the end of the slideshow, but we could talk about taking summer courses now if you're planning on being here in the fall, or even just to get ahead and to build your file as you look to apply here at Johnson. Because if you take the course here, it'll cover the course when you enroll here in the future. And then, as I talked about our guidance counselor type job, we at the advising office understand that some of you may be coming from high school, some of you may be coming as a non-traditional student that's changing careers, coming back to school after taking time off. We want to work with you at wherever you're at to help you feel comfortable in the decision you've made to come to Johnson, and to give you the tips and tricks to get through the tough parts. I make the joke when I teach my student success class that I'm a hurdle destroyer for students. I look to find ways to destroy your hurdles and give you the motivation and the tools to be successful. You have it, and then a little bit of conversation with me and a little bit of planning, and you'd be successful. You'd be very surprised at what people can do when they're motivated. Our support services, to kind of give you that pep talk, if it's a regular monthly meeting, a bi-weekly check-in, a text message, we have that ability here. Something else that we do help and try to figure out where you need to go and how you fit. Students will take placement exams, and that'll tell us where you are when it comes to math and English readiness for college. And that'll tell us, if we need to take a summer class to get ourselves started, or if we have to take a placement math class or English class in the fall. Many of you'll hear later from Aubrey, our Associate Director of Academics, about transferring credits and how that might help affect your course load.
Thanks, Jeff. So I do have a question here. Oh, we got 3 questions. So here's a question in terms of introductory physics. How would one go about finding an equivalent from their community college? Some physics classes have a lab where we don't. So maybe this is a question either for you or Aubrey, but how would you advise on that?
Certainly. Well, anytime a student wants to take a class before they enroll, it's really great to check in with the recruitment advisor. They will check with our Office of Academics, whether it's myself or Aubrey or our registrar's office, to see if we already have that course cataloged in our system, that we have already reviewed the syllabus and already know that course from Luzerne County Community College is perfect. This is the one you take, and we know it'll be accepted. But at the same time, if it's from a college that we've never reviewed before, we just ask that you get that syllabus for that class, and we can actually have that reviewed by the department faculty in our general education department, and they'll compare it to our course that we offer at Johnson and decide if it's transferable. So the answer isn't always no at the beginning. It's let's look at it and see what works.
Great, thank you. So here's a question here. Is there a preference regarding traditional or non-traditional students? Meaning, do you take an 18-year-old over someone older? And I mean, I'll answer that question right now. No. I mean, yeah, we are highly diversified when it comes to traditional, non-traditional, working adults, working traditional age students. So yeah, it's all over the place, and we don't take preference. Doesn't matter to us either way. So and then I think there's one more question here. Let me take a look here. Will it be a problem to have pregnancy during the radiologic tech study? So I don't know if
That's me.
there you go. All right.
Let me give you a quick one on that. You would not be the first person to have a baby during our program. Let's put it that way. It's perfectly safe to be pregnant while you're doing radiology. The 2 of my 3 children, I worked right up to the day and went into labor that night. So in fact, one of my students had her water break during a portable chest x-ray. That was fun. At least she was at the hospital. What we could do is, depending on where your pregnancy would fall, we could either delay it and you can come back afterwards. One student, we actually let her do some classes at home until she was able to come back and finish her clinicals. It's worked a variety of different ways. We usually work around it. You don't have to declare your pregnancy if you don't want to. That's totally up to you. And if you do, you can go and work right up to the last minute as long as you're healthy. Not a problem. Does she have any other questions about that?
Nope, it doesn't look like there's any other questions in there. But thank you, Roxanne, for hopping in.
Okay,
Bill,
sorry.
There.
I'd like to piggyback onto your non-traditional versus traditional student age.
Mhm.
I've seen statistics, and our average age of our student is in the 20s, as opposed to a normal college where it may be lower. You know, it's teens or 20s, like the 20-year-old mark. So we're prepared to help students wherever they're at. That is the reality. We have some folks that are laid off and have worked a career for 30 years and come to our college, have never stepped foot in a college, and we meet them where they're at, hear where they're at, and help them through a program, and help them be successful. So it really shouldn't be a deterrent or something that makes you worried about applying to Johnson because you're not a traditional student. Our resources are there to actually help you from whatever age and whatever background you come from to make you successful and to put you into industry that Dr. Katie so passionately spoke about today.
Yeah, definitely. Well said. Well said. So, all right. Well, thank you, Jeff, for talking about academic advising. And now we'll transition to one of those services that we offer to all of our students. I'm going to introduce our counselor and manager of disability services, Emily Holmes. Emily.
Thank you so much, Bill. So thank you everyone for attending our virtual open house. We've, run through this a few different times with other programs, so we're very excited to see such a large number tonight. It's great to have you all here. So as Bill had said, I am in the Counseling and Disability Services office. There's also another individual, John Stolen, who works with me, and we work very closely with students through both sides of this department. So we'll get into a little bit right now. So I like to start with counseling services. So all of our services are free and confidential. We offer supportive level services, which means that we may not serve as your primary therapist. Some individuals like to work with folks through summers, holidays, and potentially, would like to work with down the line should another issue arise that you want to work on. But during your time at Johnson College, there are some students who will come and talk with us once a week, maybe once a month, or as needed. So we like to encourage students to reach out to us, especially if you've always been interested in talking about counseling or receiving those types of services, to try it out. Also, we help folks with referral sources as well. So that's something to keep in mind. If there's something specific that you'd like to work on, we know a lot of great professionals in the area and we can help to connect you. Now, moving along, we're going to get to disability services. In general, I do like to say during the open house that all of my contact information is at the end of this, of my portion. It's also on the website. Typically, individuals who have questions regarding either counseling or disability services, they tend to be more personal in nature. So I encourage you to reach out anytime. We can set up a Zoom meeting, a phone call. We can communicate through email. So feel free to reach out to us at any time. Now, as for disability services, so if you had an IEP or a 504 plan in high school or at a different college, maybe you had a different accommodation plan, our office is definitely one that you would like to reach out to early on. Or you may just be an individual who has a disability condition that you feel may impact your experience at Johnson College, whether that be in classroom settings, on campus, online, any of those formats. Be sure to reach out to John and I so that we can help you to make sure that you have the access and the accommodations that you need. So one thing I like to throw out there are some differences between high school and college accommodations. We can't alter the fundamental nature of the courses. So that's something that we can walk you through again more specifically with questions in a phone call or a separate meeting. But it's something to keep in mind. I also like to tell folks, even if you are not completely sure whether or not you'd like to use accommodations, it's wise just to register with our office regardless, so that no matter what happens in the semester, everything is set up for you, and at any time you can get that extended time or distraction reduced testing location. We already have all of that in place, not just when you may be struggling. So that's something to keep in mind. Another thing I like to throw out there is that we also have a student pantry. So we have non-perishable food items. In some cases, we may be able to help with bus tickets, gas, and also school supplies. So if you or someone that you know may be struggling with that, we understand, as many of other individuals have indicated tonight, we understand that the sacrifices that you are taking on, balancing family responsibilities, potentially work responsibilities. So this office has tried to create as many supports as possible to help you throughout your short stay with us for your educational pursuits. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions about that, and we're very happy to help. Any questions?
Thank you, Emily. Obviously, some of these situations may be a little personal. So if you're comfortable asking the question in the Q&A, you can ask the question anonymously, or of course, reach out to Emily individually. That would be fine too. So I don't see any questions in here right now, Emily. But thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, folks.
All right. Right now, I'd like to welcome our Manager of Career Services, Dana Healy, and she's going to talk about the Career Services Department. Dana.
Hi, Bill. Thanks. So like Bill said, I'm Dana Healy, and I'm the Manager of Career Services, and I just want to tell you a little bit about how Career Services works. So basically, when you enroll in school, we start to build a platform to connect you with employers immediately. So we use all different methods to do that. Some of the ways we get jobs out to students while they're in school are internal job boards, LinkedIn, social media. Sometimes students just walk in the office and we job search together. So there's really no one set way to get the information from Career Services. We also maintain great relationships with industry. We stay in contact with them regularly. So different careers reach out to us, different jobs reach out to us, and we get those job descriptions out to you in those, different ways. We also help to run the internship. So internship is a great way to market your skills that you obtain in your major. Just like the health science program directors had mentioned to you, your internship or your clinic is a really great way to hone in on those skills and find out what it is that you really want to do and where you want to work. So you can always come to myself or Greg Race in the department, who's the coordinator, and discuss anything. You can discuss anything, but definitely anything career related we can help you with. Sometimes students will want a job, just any job while they're in school. We can help you with that as well. It doesn't always have to be what you're going to school for at that time. I think sometimes students don't realize that even if you just need a part-time job or job helping to put gas in your car or pay daycare, we can help you search and do resumes for that as well. We also collaborate with other departments like student engagement, the resource center, advising. We work closely with each other so we can give you the best of everything. We want to make sure you have the best resumes, the best interviewing skills, the best professional skills, and the best job searching skills possible. If you can't, if I hand you leads and you don't know what to do with them, that's not going to help you. So we need to give you those skills to make sure when the leads are there that you're prepared and able to apply for those jobs. So we also hold career fairs. We hold a spring and fall career fair, and with employers from all different areas. The career fairs are not open to the public. They're only for Johnson College students and alumni, which is very unique to our school. And I think it's a great way. It helps students get internships. It helps them with networking. And that 86% placement we have, a lot of that comes from our career fair. So we're really proud of that. So that's really about it. I mean, if you have any questions, I can help you with any questions that you would have. But that's, in a nutshell, that's Career Services.
Thanks, Dana. We have a question here. Oh, and this question, actually, I'm going to turn it over to Alex for this. Can you tell us about Industry Fast Track?
Sure. Thanks, Bill. So yeah, the Industry Fast Track program, we're actually going to be holding another virtual open house session like this within the next couple of weeks. But basically, Industry Fast Track is designed to get students graduated out of the workforce sooner. So like Dana had mentioned, we want to get students jobs. We want to make sure when they leave Johnson, they're successful. So what we do is, if a student's coming for one of our 2-year associate degree programs, during their senior year, they will essentially take a full-time course load. And after they graduate, before they even graduate high school, they will have their first year of their 2-year associate degree program done. And then what will be their traditional freshman year will be their senior year, essentially. So they would complete the program in only 1 year. Now, we do have 3 academic certificate programs for students that are doing those programs. They can complete it in 1 year before they graduate. Now, with these programs that we mentioned that are being focused tonight, we really don't do the Industry Fast Track program just because, as you know, Mrs. Caswell, Heather, and Kim had explained, there are some clinical placements and things along those lines. But we always do encourage students to do dual enrollment. So if you're going into your senior year or even your junior year and want to take a class, these are definitely, science-heavy programs and programs that have a lot of lot more classes than some of our other programs. You're more than welcome to come. You'll work with enrollment. You can work with Angela. You can work with myself, and we'd be happy to get you set up. So maybe you could take, that math class, that English class, kind of get them out of the way to lighten your course load. So there are, again, a lot of options with that, and we could customize it to help you, fit your schedule best. When we get to the enrollment area as well, a little bit later, my contact information is there. Even if you want, I could respond to you in the chat and give you my contact information. I could go through it a little bit more in depth.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, although these programs aren't scheduled out like our traditional Industry Fast Track, students that are still in high school are definitely encouraged to take dual enrollment courses. And I know some had questions regarding, their ability to improve their application. Well, what better way to improve your application than actually take, classes at Johnson College and prove that, you can be successful at this level. So I think that's opportunity. And like Jeff talked about, and like Alex just said, I mean, the flexibility is there, right? And we can work, online, in the evening, during the day, during the school day. So definitely the options are there for you. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Does anybody else have any questions for Dana, Career Services? Okay. Well, thank you, Dana. All right. At this time, I'd like to welcome our Academic Resource Officer, Ashley Hassenbein, to talk a little bit about our Resource Center. Ashley.
Thanks, Bill. Good evening, everyone. At Johnson College, we've kind of reimagined the traditional library space that you'll see at a lot of colleges and universities. And by that, I mean we've taken what was our traditional library and turned it into our academic resource center. And what that means is you'll walk in, you'll see a big screen to the wall on the left, you'll see comfy bean bags, furniture that's modular. You can move it around if you want to study in groups of 2, groups of 12, groups of 1. All our furniture is mobile. You can move it around as you like. It's very non-traditional in the fact that you can have food and drink in there, obviously, as long as you're careful. You don't have to whisper the second that you walk through the door. It's really meant to be a collaborative learning space, but it does have similar features to that of a library. So our space is actually broken down into 3 different areas. We have our private study area. We can't say it's distraction free, but it is distraction reduced if you're someone that needs a little bit more quiet time. We have our area in the back, which is really cool for our health sciences. I see students from all of the health science areas, but specifically, I'd like to mention some of our physical therapy students will come in the back. They'll put tables back there, lay down, do their stretches, work on their mobility exercises. So that's a really cool way that some of the students in our health sciences work. You'll also see with our research component at the Resource Center, in our study areas, we do have a center kind of bank of computers where you can sit to work. We're also working hopefully for fall 2020 to have a new laptop bar. So it would be laptops, the real sleek, skinny, thin ones, so that we have more space for students to kind of gather around and work on group projects. We have our 32-inch TV screens, which I know isn't a huge for TV, but when you're working on a PowerPoint or a research paper or an exercise, a training video, or conducting research for a paper, that's a nice way to kind of project your paper or your project up and work in a group as well. The biggest program that we run through the Resource Center would be our tutoring program. I do coordinate all the tutoring on campus. Tutoring is free for Johnson College students, and it's offered in 2 ways. Most popularly, it's offered by appointment. So you can make an appointment with me. It's very easy to sign up. We just this year are kind of getting rid of the paper, going green and doing everything online. So through our website at Current Student Resources, tutoring has its own section. You can log in, you'll list your name, your subject, who your teacher is, and what it is you're looking for from tutoring. That'll go directly to me. I'll reach out an email and hook you up with a professional or a peer tutor. We do more professional tutoring than peer tutoring, but that is another option if you're interested in working with a student, and I do have one available. We do tutor mostly at Johnson College in our gen eds, so our English, our math, CPT, physics, whatever it may be. But that's not to say if you find yourself struggling a little bit in a program area, we can't help you out. There's a little bit of a protocol there. I don't have tutors available in every program area right on the spot, but what I can do is work with that instructor to find either a person in industry or a person on campus that can come in and work with you kind of on a case-by-case basis, because usually it's more of our gen eds that get the foot traffic. Because of COVID-19, one thing that's come out of it that's good for my department is that we have our virtual tutoring up and running. So right now we're tutoring via Zoom for students that need help. So that's a nice option because the Resource Center is open 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. And I know that sometimes studying happens late at night, probably a lot of times studying happens late at night. And if I have a tutor that's willing to work and available, you could always tutor after hours at the Resource Center via Zoom. As far as books and resources, we don't have a lot of books in the Resource Center. As a technical college, we try to stay up to date on all of our research and our textbooks as much as we can. So anything from the last 10 years is really old to us. So you're only going to see more recent editions of books, mostly older editions of textbooks that can be used for reference, but mostly it's the databases that are used at Johnson College. If you remember from high school, writing research papers and using maybe EBSCOhost or ProQuest, ERIC, any of those databases at Johnson College, and again, it's factored into the cost of the school, as Learn is a service that we subscribe to. It's the Library Information Resource Network, and that is where all of the databases are listed. So you no longer have to go to separate databases for separate content areas. You'll open up Learn, type in whatever it is you need. If you can use Google, you can do it. And I also go into classes and do little workshops on how to train students or to show students or even remind students how to use databases. And if you have questions, you can always come in and ask me and we'll get you squared away with that. Like Dana Healy just said, in the Resource Center, we do collaborate with all the departments on campus. We collaborate mostly with other departments in the Moffitt Student Center. So we work with Nolan Renz and Melissa Kirschman in student engagement, John Stolden and Emily Holmes in counseling and disability services, and then Dana Healy and Greg Race in career services. We also work with Jeff Bauman in academic advising. So the Resource Center, I guess to wrap it up, is just a place where you can tutor, come in, study, hang out, anything you need, stop by, and we'll make sure that we point you in the right direction. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ashley. Does anybody have any questions for Ashley Hasselbein and our Resource Center? Does not look like it, but of course our information is on the screen and this will be shared with all all attendees on today's presentation. So thank you, Ashley. Bill. All right. And now I'd like to welcome Nolan Renz, our Director of Student Engagement, to talk about student engagement. Nolan.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. As Bill said, I'm Nolan Renz. I'm the Director of Student Engagement. I'm going to talk to you tonight a little bit about some of the functions of our department. Our department is made up of 2 people, myself and Melissa Kirschman, who's our Coordinator of Student Engagement. Just to go over, like I said, briefly, a couple of the things that we do. So the first thing that we're responsible for are all of our on and off campus activities. So we host a number of events throughout the year that take place on campus. They're, range from our Welcome Week activities where we host a tie-dye cookout. We have a Welcome Back Bash. The end of the semesters, we do a Stress Busters Week to try to get students, ready for finals, but also kind of help them unwind a little bit and de-stress as it can be a stressful time. We host our big Spring Day Carnival in the spring. Any number of things. We also host various programs that are related to workforce development and professional skills and soft skills, whatever you want to call it. You know, we work closely, as a couple other presenters had said tonight, with the other departments on campus, you know, career services, resource center, counseling, disability services. We really try to build out programming that enhances your student experience in some way, not just, you know, getting together with other students, meeting other students, which is very important, but we also want you to be building skills and becoming stronger leaders and, you know, things of that nature. So we try to incorporate a lot into our programming, so you'll see a wide variety. We also host off-campus events each month. We do one big off-campus event each month, like I said, that could be anything from paintball to a rail riders game to a Dorney Park trip, the Steamtown Aquarium, escape rooms, you name it. We've tried to do it, and you know, it's important for us, for our students, to be able to get together in a setting outside of the classroom, have a good time, bond, you know, and really build friendships, and you know, sometimes other skills are involved, sometimes not, but you know, we also try to make them accessible to people. So once a semester we do a family-friendly event where we allow you to bring a +1 to the event. So you know, you can include your kid, you can include your significant other, whatever it may be. So you know, we try to change it up throughout the year to strike everybody's interests. We also are responsible for the clubs and organizations on campus. So we have a student government, which are, you know, work to improve the student experience for our students. We have a group called JAG, which is our Johnson Activity Group, and they try to plan fun activities on campus for people. We have Social Force, which is our community service group. We have a student ambassador organization, which is our kind of our leadership development program. It's a program that students have to apply to get into. They get recommendations from faculty or staff, and it's a program that's put together for them to build their leadership skills throughout their time as a student, to be a mentor to other students, to help out with open houses and orientations and all that kind of thing. So it's a really good opportunity for students. You know, and then we also leave open the opportunity for students to create clubs of their own, to, you know, to really drive their interests. And we give students a lot of the ownership over our clubs to try to, you know, make it in their own interest, and to give them the skills and experience in creating something like that and seeing something through, and you know, the organization skills, everything of that kind of nature. So as far as activities kind of go, you know, that's a good, you know, brief overview. We also are responsible for the fitness center and the gym. We have a full-size gym and a fully functional fitness center on campus. So, you know, another really great thing at the disposal of our students. But the last thing I'm going to talk to you about is our student housing. So our department oversees student housing, as was mentioned before. It's, you know, $70, $80 a year. For the year, you also are required to get a meal plan with that. But our housing is located in the Microtel Inn and Suites, which is located about 2 blocks from campus. So it's easily walkable if you don't have a car. A lot of our students, you know, most of them have cars, and, you know, the ones who don't, you know, get rides from their friends. But, you know, it isn't a bad walk if you choose to walk it, especially when the weather's nice. But each room is a double occupancy room, 2 queen-size beds. We try to pair you up with a roommate based on, you know, similar habits and routines. We have you fill out a questionnaire as you go through the housing process, try to get paired up with someone who will be a good fit. The hotel includes a TV, a micro fridge, you know, the microwave and the fridge combination in your rooms. There's a desk area in there. You know, housekeeping services are all included. The hotel has daily breakfast. So, you know, what you would think of, it's a normally functioning hotel. So when you think of a normal hotel, that's where you'd be staying. But you know, the staff at the hotel take really good care of our students. They get to know who our students are. They look out for them. We also hire and train 2 resident assistants. So if you're not familiar with what they are, they're 2 student staff members. Essentially, there's current students who apply and are accepted and trained to be a resource for our housing students. They, you know, they are on call for you if you have any issues, if there's emergencies. You know, they're there to kind of help, just be a guide for you as a student who's been through the process and lived in housing for a year. A great resource. Like I said, they're on call, as us as a staff. We're always on call 24/7 if you do need anything. Just the last point I always like to make, we also oversee parking, and parking is free for Johnson College students. We just ask you to register your vehicles. So again, a little bit about some of the things that we do as student engagement. Be happy to answer any questions anyone has. But that's all I have.
couple questions in here for you. So
Sure.
can you meet your roommate before moving in virtually? So yeah.
Sure. So what we do with our roommate pairings is if we can get them together at orientation, if that works out that way, then we do. But what we do is we provide contact information ahead of time. So over the summer, as soon as you get paired, we send you, phone numbers and email addresses for who your roommate's going to be, and then we kind of leave it up to you to, make whatever arrangements or have whatever conversations to kind of get to know one another a little bit. You talk about what items you're going to bring and what you're going to share, all that kind of stuff. So we do try to give you an opportunity to have those conversations when possible.
Great. And another question in here, is there, and I think I can answer, is there accommodation for married couples? So if the question is if married couples can room together, I mean, the answer is, I would say absolutely, right, Nolan?
Yeah, absolutely. If they're both students, especially,
Right.
we have gender inclusive housing, so that leaves open that opportunity for us to be able to accommodate married couples, whatever it may be, brother, sister, whatever it may be. So we are definitely accommodating when it comes to our housing. We'll work with you in whatever situation that you have.
Sure. And I hope that was kind of where their question was geared to. If not, please just clarify that. If only one is a student. So I think that would be on a different scenario because we don't really have single room housing. I mean, if you want to pay a single rate and then pay the hotel separately, I'm not sure how that would work. Nolan, do you have any input on that?
Yeah, so we always tell someone that if they want to pay for both beds, they're welcome to, so that they can use the room how they see fit, like if it's for two people, a family member, whatever it may be.
Thank you. All right, looks like that's all the questions for student engagement. Nolan, thank you so much. And Nolan's information is on the screen as well. So if anybody has any questions, on student engagement, a lot of, prospective students may have housing questions. Obviously, feel free to definitely reach out to Nolan as well. Thanks, Nolan.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. And finally, I'd like to introduce Aubrey Armazzani, our Associate Director of Academics. Aubrey.
Everybody, just as Bill had said, my name is Aubrey and I am the Associate Director of Academics, and today I want to focus my part of our virtual open house on the Office of the Registrar. So the first thing that I would like to say to kind of switch up my presentation from the other virtual open houses we've done this month is that the Health Science Division is one of the most frequently visited, transfer credit, evaluated programs that we have on campus. So please, I say this with a lot of confidence, just knowing in the situation, the current climate that we are in, if you do have transfer credits from a previous institution or, just from somewhere, please do not feel stressed, worried, or anxious that you can't get them in at this very moment. Obviously, the college is closed, but we do accept transfer credit from now, from the minute you are accepted, all the way up until the Friday of the Friday of the first week of school. So, just don't worry about any of that. I know that there's been a couple questions throughout this entire presentation about transfer credits, and I just want to make that very clear that there is no rush in regards to transfer credit given this situation that we are in. So just transfer credits that are accepted at the college are typically, they are evaluated by our program director. So you met 3 of them tonight. So you met Kim and Roxanne and Heather, and they would be the people who would give the approval for transfer credit. So if the course that you have taken was previously accepted, another student had taken it at another time, then the Office of the Registrar will let you know that class was accepted. However, if it's something that is new to our college, we do have them review it to make sure that you are coming in with comparable curriculum, okay? And I always want to make sure that students are aware of that. In no way, shape, or form are you ever being hindered or we're not accepting something from another institution. We just want to make sure that you are completely learning or have the knowledge that the college offers, okay? And if there are any questions about transfer credits, as this entire presentation is going on, please feel free to contact me. I am available through email at any time. We're all at a stay home order, so I can help you out in any way, shape, or form. The one thing too, I would also like to make mention about transfer credits that are program specific for the Health Science Division is there is one stipulation, and that is that we do require a C+ or higher in transfer credit courses for programmatic. So it's not like your Englishes or your math or anything like that. It's more or less anatomy, physiology, things that would be taken that are either related or program specific courses for the degree. The second thing that I would like to talk to you about is our prior learning assessment. So that is a new form, new age way of transfer credit. And basically what that is if you have gained any experience or knowledge through employment, if you were working in field for X amount of years, and you feel that you have gained adequate knowledge in a specific field, please have your employer write out a piece of paper that states that you have this knowledge, something along those lines that we can consider for transfer credit, and that also would be approved by our program directors. Again, if you are a veteran, a PLA tends to often fall within the realms of those who are veterans who had served in the military or active duty. And that doesn't necessarily mean that's everybody. I'm just saying that, you know what I mean? A lot of veterans will come to Johnson College and they'll realize, oh, well, I was doing this for X amount of years while I was overseas or wherever you were. So again, if you have something like that, please, we do accept PLA at Johnson College. And then the last thing that I would like to talk about is our articulation agreements. So actually, here we are. Tonight is the first night that we can discuss our articulation agreements that do apply to two of our majors, one being physical therapy assistant and the other being veterinary technology. So currently we do have 3 articulation agreements with 2 different local institutions, and one that is very fun. I want to go there, but it is Marywood University, Keystone University, and then we have another one called St. Matthews, and St. Matthews is more or less for just veterinary technology students if they are looking to further their education post the associate's degree in vet. If Kim is still on this call, I believe that it's right past Florida. If it's not in Florida, it's like somewhere down south. It's very exciting. It's a lot of marine biology, things like that. Hi, Kim. I didn't know. I just wanted to see. I always talk about this, and I wanted to see if you could just, briefly just give us an insight into that articulation agreement.
So basically, that program the majority of that program takes place in the Cayman Islands.
Wow.
And this is for veterinarians, and then you finish your senior year in Florida.
Yeah, so I mean, that was a really cool articulation agreement that we had just signed on to in the year of 2019. When I go back to Marywood University, we just signed that in 2020, which would be our veterinary associates, and then referring over to Marywood's biology program. It's very cool. It's very nice to see how we can build that bond with a local institution. And then at Keystone College, we do have this articulation for physical therapy assistants. So, we have a lot of benefits to the health science programs and a lot of encouragement to further education for our students. We back you 100%. We really like to see our students gain that knowledge in our associate's degree. And if they do feel that they, want to further on or just gain more knowledge, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. That's one of my mottos. And I really love and encourage articulation agreements. Please continue education for as long as you can. It's just always going to make you better and wiser. But that's just all I have today. Again, I know that this is a very hefty transfer credit division. If there's any questions, if not, please reach out to me or any of my colleagues, and we are more than happy to help.
Yep, Aubrey, there's a question here about the Keystone Agreement. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. What's the question?
What is the agreement?
Oh.
And I could talk, yeah.
So basically, what we are encouraging our students would happen is they would complete successfully. So they would have to pass all the courses at Johnson College in the physical therapy assistant program. And then depending on the grades, which I believe that the students have to have a C. Please don't quote me, but I believe it's a C or higher in all those courses, and then they are transferred over. And then the students can then continue on their education with Keystone. I believe that they are being awarded up to 2 years almost of credit there, and that's physical therapy and general education courses.
Yeah, and I know this is the health and animal science open house, so we also have computer information technology and our logistics program. So graduates in those two will go in at Keystone as juniors and taking the whole 2 years as well into their bachelor's degree programs.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think this is the most exciting open house for me because I was like, the articulation agreements are so applicable to health science students. So yeah, so I mean, we really worked hard on those.
And,
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
no, another one which I think if Roxanne is still on, I know in the past that we've had an agreement with Marywood University for radiology. Do you know if there's anything right now for that?
Okay, we did have an agreement with Misericordia, but they were only taking 40 of our credits. Where we do have an agreement with Penn Tech, it's a total online bachelor's degree.
Can you call Aunt Dawn? Sorry.
Oh, you want me to?
No, that was my fault.
Okay, we do have an online degree program with Penn Tech. They will take all of our credits to go towards your bachelor's degree at Penn Tech, but it is an online where Misericordia, they will only take 40 of our credits if you want to continue on at Misericordia to get your bachelor's.
Great.
Yeah, so I mean, those two aren't officially signed with the academics there, but we are, like Bill had said, we're always working, we're always thriving to get more. And I think that one thing I'm proud to say is that so many of the local universities and institutions are seeing the value of Johnson College and they want to work with us. So, you know, who knows what's to come. I'm just hoping more and more of these articulation agreements.
Absolutely. Another question in here, and Aubrey, it's would I contact you in regards to credits transferred from Luzerne County Community College?
100%. Yep.
Yep. So your information is on the screen. Aubrey can definitely help you out with those.
Yeah.
Great. All right. No more questions. So Aubrey, thank you so much. And to take us home, I'll bring back our enrollment team, Alex and Angela, to take it away and finish us up.
Great. Thanks, Bill. Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Angela Simpew. I am the Senior Recruitment Advisor here at Johnson College. I just want to go over a couple of things real quick with you. One thing just to clarify, when you go on our website under Future Students, Division of Studies, and choose the field that you're looking to get into, on the left-hand side, as Bill was showing, as the different programs we're going through, if you look at the admissions requirements, I just want to clarify, make sure everybody knows that the requirements to get into Johnson College only require you to have graduated high school or to have a GED and additional classes. Okay, so you are not required to have attended another college or university. The Algebra 1, the 2 years of English, the biology, stuff like that is all based off of high school. If you did not complete those in high school, that's okay. We can work with you. We could still look at other classes you may or may not have taken, okay? If you're looking to do transfer credits, they would be credits that can transfer in from another college or university as long as they're comparable to what we offer here. And the courses that you are required to take as a student at Johnson College is listed under the course outline. So please feel free to go to our website at any time, choose the program that you're looking for, and look at the course outline to see about transfer credits, okay? With that being said, if you did like what you saw today, or if you have any additional questions, please reach out. Once you're ready to take the next steps, I would highly recommend that you go to our website, johnson.edu, and apply now. Again, all applications are free of charge during the pandemic. The second thing you would do would be to reach out to your high school and have your high school transcripts submitted or your GED transcripts. College transcripts are not required, but are highly encouraged if you did attend another college or university. After you complete those, you will be receiving an email from me once you apply online. And with that, I'll go over the additional steps for the different programs. We always encourage students to fill out the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. As Jessica Farrell mentioned before, please make sure that it is free. If you start filling it out and they require you to pay $25 or $40, it is not the correct website, okay? Some upcoming dates for everybody to be aware of. The fall 2020 semester does start on Monday, August 31st. And hopefully, if all goes well, we will have an on-campus open house on Wednesday, July 15th. No promises with that, but that's what the next dates that we're hoping to get everybody back on campus. you know, we are here throughout the day, even though campus is not open, we are still working virtually. So please feel free to reach out through emails or texts or call our office lines because they have been forwarded to us. Some upcoming events, if you're interested, are FAFSA Fridays. So every Friday, appointments are available, and you do need to schedule an appointment. It's anytime between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. To register, please go to financialaid@johnson.edu or call the number listed on the screen. With that being said, do we have any additional questions about anything that you guys heard tonight?
Thank you, Angela. I do not see any more questions, but I do want to share all the contact information from all of our panelists today for each department. So please feel free to reach out. Like I said, you guys are going to receive this presentation separately, so you don't have to go jotting down everybody's name right away. Okay, thanks, Angela.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. And I want to thank everybody for joining us here for our virtual open house. If you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out, call or email. We are here to help, and wish you the best of luck. Stay safe. Thank you.